Hello and welcome to Access Astrology. We are three astrologers who are fascinated by how astrology unfolds in our daily lives, in the charts of our clients, in the politics around us, in the world around us, and in our metaphysical search, the practical side, the spiritual side, the emotional side. This is Heather Rowan Robbins. I'm speaking to you tonight from Montana, Western Montana, and I'm joined by Mark.
Mark Wolves, joining from New York City by the Hudson River, which
And
is
we hope to
getting
have
cool.
Anne here, and Anne will be coming on, we hope, is she gone down to Florida already?
I think she has.
She might be in transition, but we think she's going to be here. But Mercury is so very retrograde. And this is going to be a Mercury retrograde talk. We're going to talk about how Mercury retrograde's been working out in our lives, read a few comments from our clients and our listeners. So if anybody has a great Mercury retrograde story they want to share, put it in the comments and I will read it out loud here. But it has been, I'm one of the gifts of Mercury retrograde is a chance to go back and fix problems. So we're going to redo two charts, one that somehow got lost in the mix. I kept saying it'd be on next week and never got to it. And then the next one um, uh, will be a person who last week while Mercury was retrograde, I did the chart and got the wrong name, wrong year.
Wrong year.
And one of the problems, I am slightly numerically dyslexic. So that helps me read a chart in the round. I can read a chart upside down and sideways. I read in a circle. But sometimes going straight across, I transposed a few numbers. So we're fixing that today. And then we have yet a new client. And one of the questions I got over here, Mercury retrograde is a chance to redo. I've been feeling it. I've lost a few friends this week, not close, but people that I've known or have been around the edges are important to me at times. And so I'm spending time with my memories. And that's not an unhealthy thing to do with Mercury retrograde. We're heading into the biggest transportation week of the year over Thanksgiving and the biggest time for miscommunication, Thanksgiving dinners with relatives. How important it is to slow down and speak clearly and make the best of the situation. But it can also be when when communication is jamming up with the relatives and politics starts and it doesn't look like it's going to be good and Adele isn't ready to sing, which she did in that wonderful Saturday Night Live skit that helped every time the politics got strange, someone put on Adele and it shifted the mood. It was pretty funny. But the but to talk about memories that were way back, what is a good memory that the family shares? Or asking everybody to share their favorite Thanksgiving memory or, you know, a memory of where things were working right in their life and what made it work right. Kind of bring our that Mercury retrograde retrospective to something beautiful that we want to bring forward so we don't jam up in a difficult situation. Now, there's so much difficult situations to jam up this week. Someone asked, is Mercury retrograde that the real Epstein files will be released? Now, that's a good question. Will they be the real ones? But it is interesting that often Mercury retrograde can unjam something that's been jammed for a while. It can accomplish something that should have been done a long time ago. And to just really work to be in the present moment with it. And we hope that the information will come out. It's an easy time for misunderstandings to happen or people to jump to conclusions. So I would say if the Epstein files do come out, they should be read intensely and read with the eye that this guy is a well-known liar. What do his files really mean? And how do we cross corroborate before we make any wild accusations? And trust the women more than the files because the women are speaking their truth. So it's going to be an interesting process getting that straightened out. But I'm seeing that I also hear that I think I hear Anne. Is she coming in device is not connected, but I see her name. I think she's coming up. So one of the things that we see with there she is. Hi, Anne. Hi,
I
Anne.
hear
Are you
you.
there?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes. And where are you now?
Microphone's not on.
We
It's
can
on
hear
now.
you.
Microphone.
We hear you.
Okay. We'll wait for her to catch up. We can hear her. Can't hear us. That Mercury retrograde, again, here is the classic technical snafus, which
Okay, that
are
better. Can you hear
abundant.
me now?
We can hear you.
Yeah.
Can you hear us? We can hear you.
Can
I
you
don't
You're
hear
hear
you
us?
good.
guys. 'Cause,
Ah, still snagging.
She's still. Hi.
Um,
We see you. We hear you.
but again, how to work around that, how to enjoy the silliness of the moment when that is in place, and to look at. I see that the National Guard have been pulled out of Chicago today, and with admitting that the 600 people that they arrested, less than 17 actually had a record. That meanwhile they
Keep talking.
gassed a Girl Scout routine. They took out schools. They caused a lot of damage to a community, and to see
The
that
sound thing's
that
on.
Mercury retrograde, how do you find uh, that is a reparation of something that should have been fixed before. So we can hear you, Anne. Can you hear
Yeah,
us?
we can hear you.
That's funny.
She's not hearing us.
Okay, I'm going to mute her
I
mic
mean,
until she can hear us, and then maybe she'll come back on. Um, when she hears us, when she gets it, she's just relocated to Florida from New York and has been working on straightening out her information. So it's going to be interesting with Mercury retrograde coming into Thanksgiving. Now, we also have, I'm going to put up the chart for today um, that we had upstage on here before. We're heading
Can you hear
into
me
the
now?
dark of the moon in
now we hear
Scorpio.
you.
I
Hello.
don't hear you guys.
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us? No. Okay. So, um, the in the grand trine of Scorpio, we see these planets down here at the bottom. We see the lineup of uh, in the dark of the moon tonight. I think that's where we're thinking back on our feelings, remembering people that we've lost, and going through that process. And it is sitting with that quiet. Now, I think it's good for us to process these emotions now before we hit this weekend, because it's going to be a good weekend for getting organized for the week ahead. Mercury is retrograding back to form a grand trine with Saturn and Jupiter, and so is the Sun is doing that right now, and that those can help us plan and get organized, considering that Mercury is retrograde. We can't really plan the big picture, but we can plan the short things. Remember things that we haven't done and how important that is. I realized that for some reason, I have very few clients this week. But then, of course, I realized that I have an article that I have to get in by the end of the week. So now I have the time to do it. It's like two wrongs can make a right with Mercury retrograde. So you've got the time to do when some cancellations appear. If your schedule clears, ask why did it suddenly clear? And can you hear us yet? No. Okay.
No.
Um,
I wonder if it must be her
can you hear us,
equipment.
Ann? No. Okay, so it's with that grand trine in Scorpio tonight, doing those deep feelings. Get that cleared now, that there's a sense of concern and worry, and just sit with the feelings. Don't try to hide them or ignore them. And then by this weekend, we'll be moving into a planning time. What are you seeing, Mark, as far as making things happen?
Well, there is that grand trine which should make it easy to connect with people. Uh, but you do have to put some effort into it. So identify who around you can relate to water. That's a good place to start. Oops.
Good.
Um, sounds like an airplane taking off.
I'm not sure where that came from, but
Yeah, I don't know. But there, if you look at this chart for today, there's another uh, configuration that I'm very fond of. It's the mystic rectangle. You see a rectangle running through the chart. It's
where do
two
you see that?
oppositions and
Mm-hmm.
two sextiles between four planets. So if you look at Uranus and Jupiter, the
Mm-hmm.
sextile,
Yep.
and Pluto and the Sun and Mercury are also sextile, and it's opposite between Pluto and Jupiter,
Yep.
and
Yep. Yep.
Uranus
And
and
the
the
two
Sun and
set
Mercury.
two trines and the two oppositions. Yeah. And tell us
And
about the mystic rectangle. What do you see?
my favorite way to explain it is the
Anne, are you there?
tarot card
I'm here.
magician.
Can you hear me?
There he is.
Yes. There
Hello.
she is. Here she is. Yay.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm having audio issues, so I'm
Well, we
here.
could hear you on the other
We
one.
hear
You
you.
couldn't.
Yeah.
We could
You could
hear
hear me.
you.
You could
You
hear me. I
couldn't.
couldn't hear you. Okay,
You,
let me go out. Let me go out and
no,
try coming
no,
back
that's
because I'm on
fine.
my
Stay
cell
there.
phone. Huh?
Okay. You can stay there if you
I
want.
think
Well,
it's
it's
working
right.
now.
It's got 4% left, so it's going to hang up on
Okay.
me anyway. Let me go get my. So you can hear
Okay.
me. I can't hear you.
Right.
That's what we're doing. Okay, bye.
Okay.
Mercury
Okay.
retrograde.
Bye.
You know, all good.
Yes. So very.
Okay.
Um.
So back to the mystic rectangle. It's
Mm-hmm.
like the tarot card, the first tarot card, number one, the magician. And if you look at that card, you see the magician working with the four elements
Yeah.
to create things. And that's really what this mystic rectangle allows you to do. You can gather the elements and perform some alchemy and make things, create things new.
That's
So
exciting.
look at the planets that are involved and see what kind of alchemy they point at and use them.
I
So,
hear
and
from
that's
our. Yeah.
that mystic rectangle has been with us for a while now, and the same with the Grand Trine. So both of them are in a lot of charts.
It's a
And
lot cooking.
yeah, there's a lot cooking, and there's a lot you can do with it.
So I'm feeling that it's a really behind the scenes thing, that the day to
Mhm.
day frustrations can be an issue, but it feels like there's some big political shifts, big spiritual shifts that are moving slowly, but it's sort of like low tectonic plate shifting that
Yeah,
I can see from that.
and both levels are happening.
Yep.
Yeah, which often is the case. You see configurations in the chart and aspects between planets, and it's happening on the everyday level, but it is also happening on a longer term thing. And if you can join the two, then you have something to something new is issued out of what you've put together. So think
Mm,
of combining the everyday level with the deeper, the heavier kind of energy from
mm.
below.
Yeah. So we got comments from how other people are experiencing, for our readers, our listeners, this Mercury retrograde. Someone said they are possibly going back for a promotion to a unit at a job that she left during the eclipse season of April 2024. So she's going back to a job she liked before. Someone else is saying I feel like London is saying I've been on Mr. Toad's wild ride, and that and it's in her third house. She's dealt with so falling so far. Computer constantly going into power saving mode with no explanation. Internet disconnecting and need to find a new provider. A tooth that cracked and a filling fell out. Driver's license lost. A new job I was hired for only to be told they're postponing the position until January at the very last minute. Um, the car lender being aggressive, and the doctor, she had a surgery scheduled for this month but can't get hold of the doctor because it's their endless game of phone tag. Now all of
Sounds
those
like
are
sounds like a retrograde toad.
yes, it does. What Toad's wild
Should-
Mercury retrograde ride. Um, and I got a question. Can Mark speak to the signs of the mystic rectangle and how it's affecting things? I think Mark has been doing that,
Yeah.
feeling that grand trine. So let's talk about some of the few clients that have asked us to speak. I'm going to start with Sue, who we missed before, and her comment. Yeah, she went on a bit, but um, what what it's about work. It feels like looking for her mojo. She said about she has had worked for property management positions. She's looked at real estate jobs. She's experiencing a heaviness of Saturn, and what to do about this, what position, and currently living in Portland, and how to work forward. So, what is her chart saying about this? What do you see about her calling for work in general? That's often a question we get. And yes, Saturn, she's just finishing her second Saturn return. Saturn is sitting right back within a degree of her Saturn. It's going to turn direct soon, which may help her with work. But what are you seeing, Mark?
Yeah, that Saturn is a call to set up the next 29 years.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, when you're making your plans and trying them out, think of it as being creating a whole new segment of your life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's really important to pull that together.
And as she was born with Moon conjunct Uranus, so she might help people move. Relocation charts help them temporarily move, or help people relocate if she's doing real estate. But in general, that may not feel like a settled job for her. Her progressed moon's been in Scorpio conjunct Neptune, coming to conjunct Mercury. It's got 6 more months before it hits Sagittarius, but it's heading into her 10th house. So it feels like she will be finding herself in a new form. And I'd like to, she's so good at helping other people live out their dreams. It's like to think about what are her dreams in this process. With Saturn going through her second house for the next 2 years, it is a reorganizing of her finances to help secure her for the next circle around. But it may take a while to get that done. It, to kind of know that it's going to be a little tight financially, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be tight financially forever. It's tight financially so she can reorganize it and make it feel more secure. But kind of really think what part of this she likes, not, and then how can she make money on this? What part of it calls her? You know, that that Moon Pluto. There's something about understanding homelessness or working with tenants' rights or with the city and how it's handling tenants. They could be an important part of the process. Helping people who are losing a home and getting a home, being born with that Moon Pluto conjunction. There's something around the home is deeply significant to her. Anything else that you see?
Uh, yeah, really, really working with that sense of emotional upset around you. You want to be able to bring calmness to people that are around you. And if you look
Mm-hmm.
carefully and don't react right away, you'll get a good answer to help other people calm down. So look for that.
Okay. And we're going to go on to Sue here. No, that was Sue. We were
No.
just doing
Okay.
Christina. And Christina is the one whose birth date we got right. And I don't remember her questions. If somebody wants to send back in and say, hey, you got something wrong, please restate your questions again so I have all the information in one place, because we've got like 5 Christinas on the list. So this works out. But we see that Christina was born this lineup of planets in Scorpio. Happy recent birthday. And the with a Mars Saturn opposition and a Jupiter, so almost a grand square with Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and the planets in Scorpio. Um, and It's so what do you what when can you think of with that? How do you uh what do you think that would be an important part of this process? And when you have some grand square and fixed signs, it's hard to get it things shifting. But Mark, when you have a client with a grand square and fixed signs, what good advice do you have to help them work with that and use the power of it? Because it's quite dynamic in its ability to move once it gets moving.
Yeah, it's very dynamic because it's a solid structure. So if you go to build a house, a square is one of the things that'll work as a base for that
Mm-hmm.
whole
Mm-hmm.
house. A circle can do the same thing. A circle will make um, a strong foundation, and everything builds off the circle. The same thing with the square, is everything builds off it. So if you have especially a grand square in your chart, you want to not not lose the energy of that by having an emotional tussle with everyone around you. Instead, look for how you can create something solid.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
people will join you, and you're often taken as someone that is good for support. So if you can use those squared energies to find support for your own projects and also for others. If you don't do that, what happens is you end up with four fights on your hands.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
got
it can be. I
four
think of it as
fighters.
like it's hard to get all the horses going in the same direction.
Yeah,
And that if you can, you are unstoppable. But trying to get a balance between the part of you that wants, freedom and security and wants to go deep and profound and wants to get along with everybody in the community, but wants to be seen and gets upset if you're not seen. How, and wants to shine for the sake of the community. When you get all those parts, like if you can sit them in a room, when you've got something like a grand square in your chart, you can put four chairs at right angles and go to and say, you sit in this chair, you're speaking for Jupiter. You sit in this chair, you're speaking for Saturn and for the Scorpio lineup and for the Mars and Leo, and let them talk to each other until they can find a way to not step on each other's toes, but have a common goal that works together. And I think that that can be a really powerful way of working with it. Now, she had some upheavals over the last couple of years, 4 or 5, as Uranus set this whole thing off ringing like a bell. And we think of her chart now, uh, and where Uranus has just gone is back into Taurus, but it won't set the whole thing off again. It is going to be talking to her Mars and to her Saturn opposition. That Mars Saturn opposition, growing up, you may have seen some people be very responsible and other people act do what they want, but you weren't necessarily shown how to responsibly do what you want, to put that Saturn and Mars together, because that is a powerful combination. To have your responsibility and your hard work back what your true desires are and where you want to go.
yeah.
And make
It'll seem like it's flipping on you, the
mm-hmm,
Saturn Mars. So you have the notion of what you want to do. You're ready to do it, and Saturn comes and dumps cold water on it.
yeah. And you were born right before the new moon. So you were born, at kind of remembering in this lifetime, finishing up your whole lifetime can feel when you're born right before the new moon, like you are reading the last chapter of, 10 Russian novels and you have no idea what the beginning of the plot was. It can feel like a lot of clearing up of many lifetimes. And just recently, only 3 months ago, you went through a progressed lunar new moon, which ended one cycle and began another one. So you're just getting going on this new 30-year cycle, and just getting going on stepping into more about this lifetime's work and excitement. So that could be quite interesting. So, and then the last person. Let me see if we get Ann on. Ann, are you there? Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yes.
you. Are we here?
We're here. Mercury
Woo!
retrograde. It just wasn't recognizing my speakers. So
Here's-
my microphone didn't turn green, which I don't understand, but you can hear me. And it wasn't hearing my speakers. So I'm here. Yay, we got it up.
Yeah.
Yay! And how was your move down to Florida under Mercury?
It was good. Well, we were an hour delayed on the ground leaving LaGuardia. 27 planes ahead of us.
My
So
goodness.
we were in line. We left the gate at the right time, but we were in line for an hour and 10 minutes. And then once we took off, everything was done. So that was good. And
Wonderful.
then got here. Remo's drugs didn't work, so he was making noise.
Oh no.
Meow, 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 meow. And it's also a Scorpio moon. He's got a moon in Scorpio. So then we went to pick up my car at my cousin's house, and she has a cat. And he was howling with the cat, So and then he got here and he was howling all night. So we had a tough couple of days. It is a Scorpio moon. God bless him. We got through it. We all got through it.
And in that dark of the moon, someone mentioned that they were feeling melancholic this Mercury retrograde, and it has been a melancholic one, particularly in this dark of the moon of Scorpio. It might feel very different by tomorrow afternoon when the moon goes into Sagittarius, or when the moon goes into Sagittarius, and by Thursday, and you start to feel that that sense of a more upbeatness.
Yeah.
Now, the chart we've got up now is a woman living in Portland now, and her comments were, last 12 years have been brutal, and she's not sure why. She got laid off after 20 years last December. Hasn't really understood the astrocartography. Has been living in Oregon and New York, and can we offer any help and support? So what are you seeing, Anne, as far as this chart goes?
Well, she got laid off when she had the Pluto trying to Pluto. That was in November. So Pluto's been in her second house, kind of playing with her planets. In terms of support, part of it is the Sun, Saturn, Taurus. Uranus at the last degrees of Taurus right now, kind of really being a little disruptive because she has Uranus and Mars in the midheaven. So I would be curious if you got some job or something, offer a job in July. The last 12 years, we're hearing Jupiter. And her natal Jupiter lives in Scorpio. So with Cancer.
And here's her
here's
tri-wheel.
Yeah. When the progressions, so her progressed Venus and her Jupiter in Scorpio too, her sun's in Cap. So that's not all 12 years though. I think, one of the things with the chart with Pluto on the angle of the 10th house like that, as he gets off of it, Pluto's been going into her midheaven, aspect of midheaven and saying maybe we can bring a little bit better. I'm not seeing anything overtly that says, it's horrible and when does it get better. I am seeing, a lot of times her chart needs to disappear, and she's not living in New York. That's not a great place for her. She lives further west. The sun will be out of the 12th house. The 12th house is considered the house of sorrows. So that would be, age 36 to 48. But she's past that also at this point, right? She's born in 70. So, so the period of time from 36 to 48, you're running your sun line, and you're running your sun, and it's in the 12th house. In natally, it rules the 8th house and the 9th house, and as well as the south node. So that can feel like a lot of stuff leaves your fingers. Plus, you have the sun squaring and Mercury squaring the nodes fade. And that often is what we call a skip step, meaning that your chart has to take kind of the optimistic approach and go towards that north node in Aquarius rather than the south node in Leo. But with the south node in Leo, it's going to be a little easier to reflect on the losses you've had. And Mercury in Scorpio right now is retrograde in Sag, which is not a sign of light. So I would be curious when her progressive Mercury retrograde, because that could be it because of its answering to her Jupiter in Scorpio, also right at the edge of the 12th house of sorrows. So a lot of times the old astrology goes, well, when you're living with your sons in the 12th house, you're supposed to be a little isolated, and so the period of time from 36 to 48 reflect that time frame. So Venus is correct at this point, so that's good. So that's
And
but yeah.
I have a son in the 12th house, and I live just me on the mountain, and I communicate with people here. But these are here's astrocartography. I noticed that she doesn't have that great lines on either side of the country. She's got some really interesting lines in the middle of the country.
Yeah.
That when we take her to, here she is in New York with that 12th house sun and that Mars Uranus up in the 10th, which has taken some heat. As a Scorpio moon in Aries, she's going to be an independent cuss no matter what. And the freedom to do things her own way will tend to be more important than anything else. But she kind of to notice what signals she's sending out to the world. If she can work for herself, she can do that uh, really well. But when we move her to Portland, it puts all those planets in the first house, but it puts Saturn in the 7th and just weigh heavily.
And so the ruler of her ascendant's now in the 12th house, Mars.
Right.
So again, no control over the sudden unexpected changes, because now the ruler of your chart's in the 12th house of problems.
But look at Denver, where the Sun and Jupiter were rising. And like there's a whole lineup of planets of cities in the middle of the country, sort of at an angle, that would put Jupiter and Venus right near the ascendant, the Sun just where the Sun was rising, and it puts the ruler of the ascendant up in the 11th, and that might give her a little bit more room. I don't know if she's got any friends to visit middle of the country, but she might give it a shot.
Yeah, the Denver chart looks very good.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of coming out of the prison cell,
Yeah, the 12th house is the house of prisons.
Right, and it goes through Phoenix, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Taos, Denver, up towards Winnipeg. And would even feel it in Minneapolis, which I highly recommend as a city, and a few other places. So to consider that. And any more comments, Anne, that you wanted to make about today's chart? Because we were talking about the dark of the moon and how to use the dark of this moon.
The dark of the moon is for releasing, and also all the new moons are at the last degree. So we have the eclipse on the 21st of September, the last degree of Virgo. We have the last degree of Libra. We have now the last degree of Scorpio. Next month, the last degrees of Sag, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. So we're in, when you have planets at the last degrees, it says that's done, we're finished. The new moons at last degrees in each of your houses, that Virgo through Pisces house, half of your chart, is like those cycles are finished. And those are also the houses associated with being out in the world, your work, your partnership, what's of value to you, your education, your career, your group of friends, and where you want to go to sleep at night. So that's why everybody on this new moons are mark beginnings, but new moons at the last degrees mark a beginning, but also often an ending.
Yeah.
So the dark of the moon right now, we did have technically, hopefully, an ending to the Epstein business, because both the House and the Senate voted again to release the files. So we'll see what happens. And of course, the victims appeared, and we have the guy, the Saudi prince that cut up that journalist and cut him into body parts and sprinkled him in the.
Yeah.
He was there, and Trump says you're fake news. I'm like, I'm sorry. Our intelligence said he did it, and then he killed a bunch of people who he said did it, but they were ordered by him to do it. It was just, yeah. So
yeah.
But that's Scorpio. The moon's on a world point. Moon's in the path of fire right now. Last 2 days. Via combusta, and Venus is on a world point at 15, so that was all the survivors of the Epstein stuff standing there. You've got Marjorie Taylor Greene going rogue, and we just had Mercury go back into Scorpio, where he's doing his retrograde. This has been a kick-ass Mercury retrograde.
It has been a kick-ass Mercury retrograde.
As evidenced by me not being able to get my friggin' computer to work. Really? Now, admittedly, I should have done it earlier, and
Yeah.
I had a cocktail at dinner because I have a friend here.
Yeah, I
But
mean, and Mercury's in its fall in Sagittarius, so it may be a little bit less, I mean, more moody, but not necessarily harder as Mercury heads into Scorpio, retrogrades back.
right, yeah.
So we've hit our time. Mark, would you like to take us out with thoughts on the full moon, on the new moon and the grand trine?
Yeah, let's take a moment just to picture your chart and picture where all the water is in your chart. And this grand trine that we're experiencing today is going to bring, and also with the new moon, is bringing water energy into your chart. So look at what in your chart where the planets are that are in water and see what you can do with those.
Beautiful.
Let's notice the feeling that the grand trine also forms a kite, and Mercury is opposite Uranus. Second time, as he sets off that grand trine. So they've got a third pass. So
Mercury's going to do that.
Yeah, he's on the fixed star Taliman right now. Taliman tells the tales. So watch for the truth to come out or the tale to be told.
Perfect for the Epstein files.
Oh yeah, but also in your own life. That last degree
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
I've had a few people with very nasty secrets coming out on this. But Sag, I'm going to tell you what I think anyway in the answers to the Jupiter and exaltation and Cancer. So everybody's talking.
Yeah. On that note, take care of yourselves this weekend. Have a good planning. We'll talk to you next Tuesday in the pre-Thanksgiving How to Handle Your Relatives Over the Holiday show. Okay.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Bye now.